park right here. There we go, perfect. Keep the cops from getting me. What are you gonna do? He's just like sitting in his car. Oh, now, now he turns on the siren. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll leave you to it. Backup's coming. Oh, and now he gets out. Oh my gosh, I'm out of here. What's going on, guys? James Blonde here with MMOHuts.com. This time with a first look at the one and only Triad Wars from United Front Games. The same developers as Sleeping Dogs, of course, and it's published by Square Enix. Now, this game is a free-to-play multi-genre game, as I like to refer to it as, that is just as much Grand Theft Auto or APB Reloaded or even Sleeping Dogs in this case, as it is the mighty quest for epic loot. Just to give you an idea of what we got here. The game does take place in the Sleeping Dogs universe, but it's more of a prequel, so you're going to see some tie-ins and some gameplay similarities. And for those of you looking forward to the sequel to Sleeping Dogs, you can still look forward to that sometimes in the future. They've mentioned that they are going to work on that after they perfect Triad Wars. But Triad Wars is currently in closed beta. We've got keys at the MMOHuts giveaway section if you want to try it out for yourself. Link down below. But with that said, even though it's in a more public beta, the game still feels a little early on in development, so definitely expect some bugs and missing pieces. But either way, I'll hop in and show you guys the current state of the game. Okay, so you start out by choosing between 3 different triads, the 18K, the Sun On Yi, and the Xing Wo. Not a whole lot of differences from what I can tell other than the initial appearance, which you can of course change in-game via the cash shop. Plus you've got a few choices to begin with. I went with Mr. Worldwide here, Pitbull. Currently, there are no female characters to play as in the game, but this is something the developers do plan on adding, in case you were wondering. It's just one of those things that's missing from the game right now. And the game introduces you to the controls and some of the gameplay that you can expect to see just after selecting your triad, and at first, I played the game with the keyboard and mouse, which I've got to admit, for a game like this, it's actually set up not bad. It's set up just like you might expect it to be, WAS and D for movement and the mouse controlling your view, and the left shift key being one of the primary action buttons, which lets you parkour over things, lets you sprint, and it does a couple other things as well. Left click allows you to attack, clicking quickly does rapid attacks like punches and whatnot, and holding left click a little longer does a heavy kick, which is awesome once you land it. Which isn't hard, but they do block. And with this type of fighting game, you also have got block mechanics as well as grappling. Perfect for doing some really awesome fatality-esque KOs. Yeah, and for those who use F and E on the keyboard for the grappling and countering mechanics. Now, after trying the game out for a little while on the mouse and keyboard, I switched over to the gamepad, which I ultimately found more comfortable. So if you're wanting to try this game out and you do have a gamepad, you're probably going to get a slightly better experience out of the game, in my opinion. But like I said, it's easy to get the hang of on the mouse and keyboard, so if that's all you've got, no big deal. The controls on the gamepad feel more like Sleeping Dogs, so if you're familiar with that, then you're going to be right at home. That being said, the combat in the game is probably my favorite feature, which I've got to admit is fun and in a lot of cases entertaining, especially the fatal KOs. There's just something about smashing this guy's head into a TV that is strangely satisfying. Or better yet, the face cooking fatality. And my personal favorite, hey you, there's something caught in your car door. Okay, you're good. You can leave now. It was just some guy's face. Anyway, besides that, the counters and grabs are also fun, but they get tricky as you progress. The AI gets a little smarter, especially once you go up against guys with guns, and you learn early on that it's actually melee weapons, like the cleaver, that are absolutely OP. Literally, if you have a cleaver, which is really common to get, you can pretty much take on any enemy in the game with confidence. You'll clear a room in seconds. No problem. That ought to teach you to bring a gun to a knife fight. Perhaps it's a little unbalanced in the current state of the game. But yeah, going up against enemies that have guns with just your fists is pretty brave, but justifiable if you get used to the combat and, you know, feel like soaking up a little bit of damage prior. The shooting in the game is okay. It doesn't quite feel like GTA, in my opinion, if that gives you some point of reference. The pistol, though, can be really accurate sometimes, and then turn around and get you killed really quick other times, and then not hit anything at all while you're driving. Wait, there we go. That's not that bad. It only took about 6 clips. It's a good thing I don't run out of ammo here. Okay, so you're probably wondering how the game is actually set up. It looks a lot like GTA Online. Well, yes and no. The game has a really cool open world map that's based on Hong Kong that lets you drive all over the place and even walk around through the markets. You see a lot of people, and it seems fairly unrestricted, but the game's multiplayer itself is asynchronous instead of being live action. So you won't actually see other players wandering around. Instead, the game is set up with a raid other people's turf and safe house system, very similar to the way Mighty Quest for Epic Loot is set up. That's why I referred to it earlier. You build up your safe house by adding rackets like counterfeiting and hacking, even gambling, to create different resources and commodities to then further push your gang to the top of the triad, becoming the Dragon Head. So just like in the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, you construct your castle. In this case, it's your turf/safe house, which looks like this. And so far, they all look the same, so you quickly familiarize yourself with the layouts, which makes it easier when raiding other players. The starting levels give you access to a few sections to place rackets, and specific rackets make specific resources, which are then stored in the warehouse, which can also be upgraded to hold more goods. And in order to make some resources in one racket, you need resources from another racket. For example, I need to hack the internets to get some secret blueprints in order to make some knockoff clothes. Funny how the market works that way. Luckily, I'm in the counterfeiting business as well, so I just print my own money at no cost to me. So this is a big part of the game, and it kind of controls your overall progression through face, which is the XP mechanic in the game that either goes up or down depending on how you're doing, kind of like the stars in Mighty Quest. You don't deliberately set up your defenses in this game, but as you level up your safe house and individual rackets along with another system that I'll get into next, your defense automatically gets upgraded to become more difficult for anybody trying to take your stuff. So that's the defensive side of things, and one major way to get money and resources in the game, of course, is finding other players' safe houses to raid. When doing this, you have multiple things that you have to keep in mind. Your objective is to get into the safe house and kill the enforcer, which is the NPC version of the other player who created the turf. Remember, this is an asynchronous game. Now, you can choose to take out each one of the rackets in order to get specific resources that you might need and then get the heck out of Dodge, or you can get it all done at once. You can kill the boss and also the rackets and get all the rewards. It's up to you, but you are working on a timer, which around the lower levels is about 5 to 6 minutes. But with a cleaver, like I mentioned earlier, there's plenty of time. Excuse me, I have to do this really quick. Yeah, in case you're wondering, I feel it's necessary to do that every time I head into their safe house. It's good luck. I just wish you could, stack them like a thug shish kebab. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, your time. So if you don't kill the enforcer in time, the opponent wins by you being arrested by the police, which is kind of funny and weird, seeing that I just killed a lot of their people, including the guy I just impaled. You'd think running out of time would mean that they cornered you somehow, and now they're going to make you bleed out slowly in some back alley somewhere. After all, they are triads. If you do beat the raid, however, it is then locked for a little while, so you can't go back and raid it again instantly. You have to wait for the cooldown timer. Like I said, similar mechanics to Mighty Quest. So the police in the game are more of a neutral annoyance. So if you steal a car or you punch an innocent bystander, they'll chase you, and honestly, they're pretty easy to lose. They don't really serve a whole lot of purpose. You can actually steal a shotgun from the back of their trunk sometimes. Just don't let them grab you when you're on foot. It's actually the quickest way to lose XP. After you progress for a little while, the game introduces new ways for you to earn resources and give you slight advantages when trying to raid other people's turf in terms of time extensions and a better intel on what rewards you can score from raiding them successfully. These are accessed by encounters that you have while driving around on the map. You can see them here are represented as little clock icons. They have you complete small tasks that are fairly easy and, like I said, buy you about 1.5 minutes extra time when raiding other players' turf. You can do up to 3 of these, which is probably useful for some of the harder opponents if you stack them. You'll end up having closer to twice the amount of time that you normally would. You can also get a lot of cash by doing export missions, which are also found on the map ever so often, and these are why the game shows you in the beginning how to shoot from vehicles. For a while there, I was kind of wondering when the aspect would come in. Otherwise, I kind of felt that the driving was, I don't know, pointless or fun. One of the two. It's much easier in the tutorial, I can tell you that. You have to deal with other Triad members chasing you and the police on these. Plus, you have to initially have enough of the right resources in order to do the export mission in the first place. You also have means of leveling up and adding skill points to your enforcer as well as your entire gang. This mechanic helps you decide if you want to put more into your offense when raiding or defenses from getting raided. So as you go along, killing other rival Triad members, you level up your enforcer and you can add skill points to your health, attack speed, melee damage, crit damage, all kinds of stuff. There's actually quite a bit you can choose from here, and you can jump around. You don't actually have to gain access to anything particular before moving on to different sections. The same thing goes for the gang, which refers to your defensive side. These same skill points you earn by leveling up your enforcer you can use to increase the effectiveness of your defenses on your home turf. On top of all of that, you've got one more system in the game called favors, and these are set up kind of like a trading card game, but can be anything from boosters for combat, health, and productions to weapons and even vehicles, actually. These are obtained multiple ways. You can get them by finding random encounters in the streets where for some reason you have to kill a cop for it. Not really sure why. Sometimes you have a contact show up on your home turf that just gives you one, and you can also buy them in the cash shop in packs that are all random, which is one really cool aspect of this game so far. The cash shop is fair. It's similar to trading card games where you buy a random pack of cards, and in this case they are categorized by combat, which would include combat buffs lasting various times, defense cards, which would be like health buffs and protections for some of your rackets over time, and production cards of different types. Anything else you buy in the game with real currency is purely cosmetic or cars, which also don't really give you an advantage in this game because it's asynchronous gameplay like I referred to earlier, and you're never racing anyone or anything like that, so it's purely cosmetic as well. Plus, one nice feature in this game is that you can get gold in-game, which is the real cash currency. You can convert in-game money over to gold to make cash shop purchases without having to pay any real money at all, which is definitely a plus for most players. Some of the cosmetic items actually look really cool. Anyway, guys, that's pretty much the gist of the game in its current state. Overall, the idea behind the game is neat. Turf war raiding part anyway. The combat is definitely fun. Excuse me, real quick, while I kill these guys with the shovel. But other than that, it's definitely not my cup of tea. But I'm also not the biggest fan of GTA-style games. So if you are, and you're also a fan of the mighty quest for epic loot, you could put those two together, and this just might be the game for you, especially if you also like sleeping dogs. I can say that seeing that a big part of this game is gathering resources, I'm really glad that I don't see any sort of super timers on things, or at least it doesn't seem like they have that at this low level. You know, the ones that you have to pay real money in order to speed up, stuff like that. Some of the problems that are originally happening with Mighty Quest, because if that were the case, the game would just basically be a fun combat system featuring cool fatalities, plus an okay rating system in order to cover up an underlying Farmville minigame. Kind of like what Prime World does, if you guys know that game. So in time, when they do more with the open world aspect of the game, add more features in, like the developers have mentioned, they plan on doing things like co-op raids and adding in the female characters, of course, then the game will be that much more appealing. So pick up a closed beta key at the giveaway section at MMOHuts.com, try it out, and give the developers some feedback on how to make the game even better. And until next time, guys, it's going to be it from me. I'm James Blonde. See you out there, gamers.
Fine, that's all? What I want.